I miss you." Luna's voice was not only gentle, but also filled with a longing that Kevin could not hold back. His caresses became stronger, deeper. Luna responded without hesitation. Her eyes were captivating and seductive. Her hands gently slid over Kevin's back, pulling him closer. Every kiss, every gesture between them was filled with strength, as if both of them had been waiting for this moment for a long time. All the barriers, all the thoughts of right and wrong were left behind. That moment was left with only sublime emotions. Nothing could stop them anymore. Welcome to Secret Love Tales channel. The old year is almost gone. The new year is coming. Jane would like to wish you all good health, luck, and success in life. And especially, please join Jane on the next journey. If you love attractive and emotional love stories, please come to our channel. Here we will bring you stories full of surprises, touching and engaging. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any interesting stories. In today's video, Jane would like to send you a story called My Sister-in-Law. Please follow along. Luna's husband's family has two brothers. Leo, Luna's husband, is the eldest, born and raised in a peaceful countryside about 100 km away from the capital. After graduating from university, Leo worked in New York, majoring in tourism. The job required Leo to travel frequently, sometimes for several weeks, sometimes even half a year. After getting married, Leo and Luna returned to New York to continue their lives. Luna works in an office at a small company with a stable salary. Although they have been married for a year, they still do not have children and are currently focusing on their careers. The apartment where the couple lives is about 1 km away from Luna's workplace, so it is very convenient for her to travel to work. Kevin is Leo's younger brother, a recent high school graduate and a promising freshman majoring in general medicine. Although Kevin's university is more than 10 kilometers away from his brother and sister's apartment, Leo still advised his brother to move in with them, partly because living together would help Kevin save on living expenses, and partly because it was convenient for him to go on business trips. And every time he was away from home, Luna would feel less sad because she had someone to keep her company. Luna was hesitant at first, but then agreed because she understood that Kevin was young, shy, and had just come to New York to study, so he needed support and guidance. So Kevin moved in with his brother and sister in the small apartment. Kevin is a quiet boy who loves studying and rarely goes out to have fun or make friends. Kevin's life used to be confined to school and books. Since moving in with his brother and sister-in-law, he has continued to maintain his private lifestyle, focusing on his studies so as not to disappoint his family. These days, he gradually realizes that his sister-in-law is very capable and resourceful. She not only takes good care of Kevin, but also takes care of everything in the house, from cooking to tidying up the small house. With her gentle, hard-working, and thoughtful personality, Luna has become an ideal sister-in-law in Kevin's eyes. Every day, Luna wakes up early to prepare breakfast for Kevin. She gently knocks on Kevin's door, waking him up. "Kevin, wake up. Breakfast is ready." Kevin slowly wakes up. The light from the window shining into the room makes him feel comfortable. He walks out of the room and sees Luna busy in the kitchen. The kitchen is small but tidy, and on the table is a bowl of hot instant noodles with eggs. Kevin sits down at the dining table, smiling at his sister-in-law. "You woke up early?" Kevin said, feeling embarrassed because he was still half asleep from his sister. "I'm used to it." "So, do you have any classes today?" Luna asked, her eyes filled with concern as if she had been taking care of Kevin for a long time. "Yes, I have 5 classes this morning and practice in the afternoon. I'm also at school this afternoon," Kevin replied. A warm feeling crept into his heart when he saw Luna's thoughtfulness. "Then eat it all. I see you're very skinny. If you eat anything, Dad and Leo will say I didn't feed you." Luna smiled gently and reminded. Kevin obediently replied, "Yes, I will eat it all." After breakfast, Kevin left home for school, catching the bus from the bus stop near his house. Luna finished cleaning the house and got ready for work. The workday went smoothly. When Kevin came home in the evening, Luna had already prepared dinner for both of them. Every night they ate dinner together, chatting about the little things of the day. Although life was sometimes boring, Kevin's presence helped Luna feel less lonely when Leo was away. In the following days, as Luna shared more about her inner life with Kevin, the atmosphere in the small house seemed to change. Every evening, after Kevin finished his studies, they began to spend more time talking about their joys and sorrows. Luna tried to pull Kevin out of his closed life, helping him to integrate more and have more connections in life. Kevin, who was originally an introvert and only focused on studying, gradually opened up more. One night, Luna and Kevin sat on the sofa together watching the TV series, The Secret Life of Walter Mitty. The series revolved around the values of life, humanity, and sacrifice in the family. She knew that Kevin liked films with depth and humanity. So, The Secret Life of Walter Mitty was a perfect choice for both of them. Luna leaned back on the sofa, her eyes watching attentively, but at the same time, she also listened to Kevin share. "Do you like this movie?" Kevin asked, his eyes curiously looking at his sister-in-law. "I think it's great. Movies like this remind me of my family, of the things I've been through," Luna replied, softly, her eyes deep. Kevin opened up more and more to Luna, not just talking about movies or everyday stories. Kevin started to share his worries. He no longer hesitated to talk about his studies or the difficulties he was facing. "Sister, I'm worried about the medical field I'm studying. It's too heavy, and sometimes I don't know if I can make it through," Kevin confessed, his eyes filled with sadness. Luna listened attentively, her eyes gentle. "Don't put too much pressure on yourself. Medicine isn't easy, but I believe that with your efforts, you will succeed. The most important thing is that you have to believe in yourself." Kevin nodded slightly, feeling Luna's support and comfort. Her words made him feel relieved, and a new confidence began to form in his heart. In the following days, Kevin spent more time talking and sharing with Luna. They walked around the park and went shopping together. Kevin told Luna about his new friends, the teachers he liked, and that although his class was stressful, there were also a few couples in love. Those peaceful evenings helped the relationship between Luna and Kevin become closer. From sincere conversations to moments of sharing feelings, the two were no longer just sister-in-law and brother-in-law, but gradually became two true friends who together overcame the feelings of loneliness in life. Although she had Kevin to share with, deep inside Luna still felt lonely. Although Kevin was a bit skinny, he ate well and exercised more, so his body was somewhat healthy. Kevin was very obedient to his sister-in-law. Luna began to have strange thoughts about Kevin. He was the only person by her side when Leo was away, the only person she could talk to, and Kevin's concern became the only comfort in her boring life. Luna knew that Kevin was young and shy, but she guessed that someone who had never experienced anything like this would easily be attracted to new and attractive things. And with her feminine instincts, Luna began to use every opportunity to attract Kevin's attention. The simple clothes of the past were gradually replaced by sexy short dresses, thin off-the-shoulder and off-the-shoulder shirts, and sometimes soft, body-hugging pajamas. At first, Kevin noticed this small change in his sister-in-law, but didn't think much of it. One morning, while Kevin was having breakfast, Luna appeared in a white two-strap nightgown, showing off her white shoulders. Kevin was slightly startled, swallowed hard, feeling that something was wrong, but he just lowered his head and continued eating, trying to act like he didn't notice. "Kevin, my friend bought me this pajama set. Do you think it looks good on me?" Luna suddenly asked, her eyes filled with mischief as she looked into Kevin's eyes. "Yes, sis. It suits you. It looks beautiful on you," Kevin stammered, his eyes averted, confusion rising inside him. After finishing eating, Luna smiled slightly and approached Kevin, bending down to take the bowl from his hand. This action caused her skirt to ride up slightly, revealing her long legs. Kevin felt his heart beat faster, his mind spinning with thoughts that he didn't dare to admit. From that day on, Luna kept creating such moments. The accidental touches of Kevin's hand while cleaning the table, the times she stood close to him while cooking, or the times she often sat closer to Kevin when they watched movies together. Kevin began to realize something was wrong. Luna's eyes, the times she intentionally brought her body closer, all of those things were no longer random. One evening, Kevin sat in his room studying, his mind still thinking about Luna and the times she had confused him. While he was concentrating on his books, he heard a knock on the door. Luna walked in, a glass of water in her hand, wearing a thin, light silk nightgown that looked strangely seductive. "Drink this glass of milk to have the energy to study," Luna said softly, her eyes looking at him passionately. Kevin took the glass of milk, his eyes still looking at the floor, feeling suffocated by Luna's closeness. He softly replied, "Yes, thank you." But in Kevin's mind, confusing thoughts kept appearing. He couldn't deny that he was starting to be drawn to Luna's charm after their closeness. Luna knew that she was getting closer to her goal. She felt more confident and determined than ever. The emotions inside Luna were getting stronger, and she couldn't wait any longer. One evening, after Kevin finished his homework, the two of them sat together on the sofa watching TV as usual. They watched a light romance movie. The dim light in the room made the atmosphere dim and intimate. The dialogue of the two characters on the screen rang out steadily, but it was as if no one in the room was paying attention. Luna and Kevin sat close to each other on the sofa, the distance between them becoming closer than ever. Luna gently leaned her head on Kevin's shoulder, the scent of her hair wafting around him, giving Kevin a strange feeling. Kevin felt his sister-in-law's steady breathing beside him, and his heart started to beat faster. On the screen, the two main characters began to kiss passionately. That scene would not be strange to Kevin under normal circumstances, but today was different. Sitting next to Luna, the person he still called his sister-in-law, made everything strange. Kevin felt his body heat up. The blood vessels in his body seemed to be able to feel every beat. He turned his gaze towards Luna. His sister-in-law's face still didn't reflect any obvious emotions, but her eyes were slightly wet, as if she was lost in her own thoughts. Luna spoke, her voice unusually soft. Her hands gently touched his. "I miss Leo so much, Kevin, but I don't know what to do. I feel more and more lonely and lost. I need someone to share and love with." Looking at her eyes, Kevin felt pain and loneliness. He didn't know what to say. He could only hug Luna to comfort her. "Don't be sad anymore, I'm always here for you," Kevin said with a choked voice. The emotions in Kevin's heart were no longer simply respect for his sister-in-law like before. Luna's presence made him, a young man unable to resist. For a moment, Luna raised her head, their eyes met. No need for more words. The two seemed to be drawn together. Luna gently wrapped her arms around Kevin's face, pulling him closer. Passionate kisses began between the two. There was no more hesitation or shyness. All barriers of family morality seemed to disappear in that emotional space. They could no longer control themselves. Emotions flared up like a fire that could not be extinguished. That night, Kevin and Luna crossed all boundaries. They became each other's in a magical moment. Kevin felt like he was caught in a whirlwind of emotions and unstoppable desire. Luna, with her long-suppressed desire, could not deny that she found comfort and satisfaction in Kevin's arms. Lying beside him, Luna felt shy and confused. Luna opened her eyes to look at Kevin and smiled happily. "Good morning," she said softly. Kevin smiled shyly. "Good morning, sis." The next morning, Kevin woke up as the sunlight streamed into the room. He turned to see Luna still lying beside him, her eyes still closed, her face relaxed. Kevin felt embarrassed and confused, but at the same time, he also felt happy and content. He didn't know how to face this truth. "Kevin," Luna called softly, her voice still trembling. Luna kept her eyes closed. She felt satisfied that her plan had succeeded. She had the closeness and love she wanted. Her lips curled into a soft, happy smile. "It's okay, Kevin. I know I was wrong, but I don't regret last night." His answer made all. Kevin's worries gradually disappear. The two of them lay close to each other again, hugging each other tightly as if they wanted to prolong this moment of love. After that fateful night, Kevin could no longer control the emotions in his heart. A wild and intense fire seemed to be burning every cell in his body. Kevin felt a storm of new emotions rising in his heart, emotions that he had never experienced before. That was the first time Kevin tasted what was called a woman. The first time he truly understood the so-called infatuation with the forbidden fruit. From that moment on, he could never forget the sweet feeling of her lips, her soft skin, the scent of her body seeping through his veins. The image of Luna, with all her charm and fascination, was like a haunting shadow in his mind. Every time he closed his eyes, he found himself returning to that moment where all moral barriers seemed to be pushed back, where both of them were swept away by intense emotions and lost in passionate hugs and kisses. The memories of that night kept replaying in Kevin's mind, like a slow-motion movie with every detail vivid. Luna's eyes when she looked at him, her rapid breathing as they both immersed themselves in surging emotions. Kevin could feel every beat of his heart, every wave of emotions as their two bodies blended together, unable to distinguish where the end was, where the beginning was. He tried to forget, tried to find a way out, but it seemed like his heart was sinking deeper and deeper into a dream with no way out. Every time he saw Luna, just a glimpse of her eyes, the feeling of desire arose deeper and more indescribable than ever. As for Luna, she couldn't escape the emotions that were burning from that moment. Her heart felt like it was being suffocated by the struggle between reason and desire. She knew clearly that what she had done was wrong, that she had broken the boundaries of a faithful wife. But that emotion refused to go away. On the contrary, it became more intense, burning like fire in every breath, every look of Kevin. She couldn't stop thinking about that night, about the way Kevin had touched her as if he understood all her secret desires that no one else could know. Luna told herself that she had to stop, that this would ruin everything, but every time she faced Kevin, that wave would surge inside her uncontrollably. She felt Kevin's eyes on her. The way he furtively looked at her made her whole body feel awakened. A part of her longed to touch Kevin again, to feel the madness and ecstasy that night had brought. She knew this was wrong, but the intensity of her emotions overcame her reason, and she couldn't stop herself from succumbing to a dangerous desire. The following evenings, after Kevin finished his studies, the two of them would sit together on the sofa in the quiet living room. They talked and laughed together, but neither of them dared to admit that beneath that calm facade was an undercurrent waiting to erupt. One evening, in the quiet space, with only the sound of the wind blowing outside the window, Kevin gently confessed, "Sister Luna, every time I see you, I can't help but think about that night." The sentence seemed to hang in the air, making the atmosphere heavier. Luna smiled, her eyes shining with something both gentle and wistful. "Me too," she replied softly, her voice soft but full of affection. But then, Luna immediately looked at Kevin with a wary gaze and a reminder. "But we have to be careful. We can't let anyone know." Kevin nodded in agreement, but deep down, he knew that this would be difficult to maintain forever. His feelings for Luna were too strong, too intense to hide. Every time their eyes met, a smoldering fire flared up between them. Neither Kevin nor Luna could control themselves. They hugged and caressed each other passionately and naturally, as if it was something they had been waiting for a long time. The caresses and passionate kisses quickly erased all boundaries, making them forget about moral and responsibility barriers. Every night, they would cling to each other and fall asleep in each other's warm embrace. Those sweet and intimate moments became the only comfort in their stressful lives. They not only found physical satisfaction, but also an inseparable spiritual bond. They talked about their worries and concerns in life, and then drifted off into a passionate ecstasy, leaving everything behind. Their relationship grew deeper and deeper. Kevin and Luna were not just two people living under the same roof. They lived together as a real husband and wife. sharing every happy and sad moment, every secret desire. When they went out, they still kept the cover of sister-in-law and sister-in-law, but when they returned home, where no one was watching, they returned to their true selves. As time passed, Luna knew that this relationship could not last forever. She knew that if discovered, the consequences would be dire. But for now, the moments of happiness and satisfaction made her unable to stop. Her desire grew stronger and stronger, and she knew Kevin felt the same. Every time she saw him, her heart beat faster. Her body burned with uncontrollable emotions. Kevin was always ready to respond to Luna's every need. He loved her not only as a sister-in-law but also as a lover, a life partner. One night, after Kevin had just finished his homework, Luna suddenly came from behind, put her arms around him and whispered, "I miss you." Luna's soft but longing voice made Kevin unable to resist. He turned around, looked into Luna's eyes, feeling the vibration in her eyes. The two did not say anything more, just gently hugged each other. Sweet kisses on the forehead quickly led them into closer moments. The feelings between them became more and more natural and deep. Nothing could stop them. Hugs and kisses swept them into a whirlwind of love. Luna always silently thanked Kevin for being there for her, for giving her a life full of emotions, where she could find comfort and happiness that she had never felt before. "Thank you for always being there for me," Luna whispered, her voice choked. Kevin hugged her tighter. He smiled and whispered, "I will always be here with you, never leaving." One afternoon, like any other, Luna and Kevin were preparing dinner together. The atmosphere in the house was warm and filled with intimacy. They had gotten used to this secretive but happy life. Kevin's arm around Luna's shoulder, the smiles they exchanged, the gentle touches full of affection had become a daily habit. In the privacy of their apartment, they didn't need to hide anything. But that day, while the two were busy in the kitchen, the main door suddenly opened. The sound of the lock made both Luna and Kevin freeze for a moment. The familiar footsteps echoed in the silence. Leo, the husband who had not returned for a long time, suddenly appeared in the doorway, looking tired but happy. "I'm home," Leo said, his voice hoarse after a long business trip. The husband decided to take a month off to be with his wife, to make up for his beloved wife. Luna stood rooted to the spot in the kitchen, her heart clenched. Time felt like it had stopped and fear gripped her body. She didn't dare look directly at Kevin, but she knew he was also standing there, frozen in confusion. The atmosphere between the three of them suddenly became stifling. Leo stepped closer, reaching out to touch Luna's shoulder, like he always did when he returned from a long trip. Leo's eyes swept over Kevin like a familiar look between two brothers. "Kevin, long time no see. You look a lot better than you did back home. Is everything okay at school?" Kevin tried to stay calm, his voice choked up, but he still replied, "Yes, everything is fine. Why didn't you tell me before you came back so I could pick you up?" Leo didn't notice anything strange. He continued to talk normally, but Luna and Kevin felt a sense of fear and tension in their hearts. Luna bit her lip, trying to hide her mixed emotions. She didn't dare to imagine what would happen if Leo knew the truth. That night, everything gradually returned to its original peace. Luna felt the warmth in Leo's touch, and so many memories of the happy years together suddenly flooded back. She felt her heart in turmoil, but only for a moment. She began to be in harmony with her husband. Kevin sat quietly in his room, a book in his hand but unable to concentrate. He knew that tonight they would be intimate. The thought made his heart ache. Jealousy filled his heart. He knew he had no right to feel that way, but he couldn't control it. Every little noise from the next room rang like a bell in Kevin's ears. He imagined Luna and Leo together, and it made him unable to breathe. In the next room, Luna stood in front of Leo, her eyes filled with confusion and worry. It had been a long time since they had been intimate, and it made her feel awkward as if she was standing in front of a strange man. Leo said in a deep voice, "I've missed you so much." He pulled Luna close, his arms embracing her, feeling the softness and familiarity of her body. Luna silently felt Leo's every move. When Leo touched her, All the mixed emotions exploded. The long distance made Leo feel needy. They wrapped around each other, their bodies merging in the surge of long-held inhibitions. Their previous closeness suddenly came rushing back, and tonight they found the connection that had been lost. In that moment, she wanted Leo more than anyone else. She remembered the passionate moments with Kevin, the sweet moments that she thought would make her forget her husband completely. But no, each man brought her different emotional highs that made it difficult for her to give up on anyone. She felt that she was so different from the old her. Everything went black as she and her husband were reaching their climax. She trembled with pleasure. On the other side of the wall, Kevin lay on the bed, staring at the ceiling, but his mind couldn't escape the sounds from the next room. Every sound, every breath of Luna and Leo made him feel like he was sinking deeper into despair. The burning jealousy kept him from sleeping, from escaping his own torment. The next morning, the atmosphere in the house became tense. Kevin asked his brother and sister to let him go to a friend's house to study because his final exams were coming up. Family life continued as usual. Luna and Leo were inseparable every day. A few days later, Leo received news from his hometown that their father had suddenly fallen ill and was currently being treated at the district hospital. No one in the family had expected this situation. Immediately, Leo decided to return home with Luna and Kevin to visit his father. The journey back home was filled with anxiety, especially for Luna and Kevin. Even though they knew Leo had no suspicions, they were still nervous about having to face him together these days. But when they arrived at the hospital, their worries about Leo's father's health overwhelmed all other concerns. He lay on the hospital bed looking tired and pale. Leo stayed by his father's side throughout his treatment, taking advantage of his vacation time to take good care of him. Luna and Kevin, who still had work in the city, could only stay for a few days. After making sure Leo's father was out of danger, Luna and Kevin returned to the city to continue their lives and work. Luna and Kevin returned to their apartment in New York. The fear and tension had eased somewhat. With Leo away, they had their own space and continued their secret happy days together. But this time, both felt a growing sense of guilt. Although Kevin still had strong feelings for Luna, he began to feel uneasy when thinking about Leo, the brother he had always respected. When Leo's father recovered and was discharged from the hospital, Leo also returned to the city, returning to his normal family life. At first, everything went smoothly. He spent a lot of time with Luna, creating a happy atmosphere in the house. Family meals were filled with laughter. Luna and Kevin played their roles, being careful with their words and actions in front of Leo. One evening, while Kevin was studying in his room, he suddenly heard faint sounds coming from his brother and sister's bedroom. The moans and creaking of the bed echoed clearly in the quiet space of the house. Kevin's heart pounded. A sudden feeling of jealousy rose in his heart. He knew that Leo and his wife had not seen each other for a long time and that it was normal for them to be close. But anger and pain still occupied his mind. The image of Luna, whom Kevin had considered his woman, now in his husband's arms, made him unable to control his emotions. Kevin tried to concentrate on his books, but the noises kept ringing in his ears, stirring up mixed emotions. He felt suffocated, trying to ignore them, but his mind kept thinking about the moments he had with Luna. The jealousy smoldered inside Kevin, becoming more and more unbearable with each passing minute. The next morning, as the family sat down to breakfast, Kevin tried to appear calm, but his heart was still full of unease. Luna sat next to Leo, laughing and joking happily with her husband. She could clearly feel the change in Kevin's attitude. After the meal was over, when Leo went out for a walk, Luna walked closer to Kevin, trying to create the same intimate atmosphere as before. "Did you sleep well last night?" Luna asked softly, as if probing Kevin's feelings. Kevin looked up at Luna, trying to contain his emotions but couldn't hide the jealousy in his eyes. "Do you think I can sleep well with all that noise?" Kevin replied, his voice sharper than usual. Luna paused, realizing what Kevin was implying. She knew he had heard everything. A hint of embarrassment and guilt crossed her face. but she knew she couldn't change the truth. She gently stepped closer to Kevin, her hand touching his shoulder as if to comfort him. "Kevin, you know Leo is my husband," Luna said softly, her voice filled with helplessness. Kevin didn't reply, his eyes still staring at Luna, his heart torn. He understood the reality, but couldn't accept the fact that Luna, the person he loved, was sharing her love and body with Leo. In the following days, Luna tried her best to comfort Kevin. She often approached him, creating private moments between the two when Leo was not home. Every time Kevin saw Luna taking care of him, he felt somewhat satisfied again. But he still couldn't erase the growing jealousy in his heart. One evening when Leo was away, Luna walked into Kevin's room with a haunted look in her eyes. She sat down next to him and said softly, "I know you're jealous, but please know that I'm always here, and I'll always have a special place for you. I love you." Luna's words softened Kevin's heart. He knew he couldn't give up on Luna, but jealousy still haunted the moments she spent with Leo. However, whenever Luna was kind and gentle, Kevin couldn't help but feel infatuated with her. For a moment, Luna sat in the living room looking out the window, her mind filled with conflicting thoughts. She knew that she was walking on a dangerous path, a path that if discovered, everything would collapse. But as time went on, Luna's feelings became more and more complicated. She loved Leo, but her relationship with Kevin had created an indescribable attraction, a sublimation that she had never experienced. She knew that Kevin loved her deeply, but at the same time he was torn by jealousy. Every time she saw the pain in Kevin's eyes, Luna knew that it was difficult for him to accept that she was still Leo's wife. But Luna couldn't abandon Leo, not only because of her responsibility as a wife, but also because she knew that he truly loved her. Leo was the ideal husband, always taking good care of her, and losing him would mean losing the stability she had built. Calculations began to form in Luna's mind. She couldn't let Kevin get too attached to her, but she didn't want to lose him either. She needed to create enough distance to maintain her relationships with both men without causing a serious rift. One afternoon, when Leo was out with his friends, Luna decided to confront Kevin. She needed to clear things up before their relationship got out of hand. She walked into Kevin's room and sat down next to him. Kevin looked at her, his eyes filled with a mixture of love and hurt. "Kevin, I know you've been through a lot, but we can't go on like this forever. I don't want to see you suffer," Luna said softly, her eyes sad but determined. Kevin bowed his head, feeling choked up. He knew Luna was right, but he couldn't give up on her. Things had gone too far. "What do you mean?" Kevin asked, his voice hoarse with emotion. "We need to be more careful, Kevin. You know that Leo is my husband, and I would never leave him, but I don't want to lose you. I need you to understand that we can't let this get out of control." Luna replied, her eyes seemingly filled with 1,000 thoughts. Kevin was silent, his heart in turmoil. He didn't want to hear these things, but Luna was right. He couldn't destroy Leo and Luna's marriage. However, his feelings for Luna were too deep. He couldn't leave her. "How do you want us to keep things?" Kevin asked, trying to contain his pain. "You'll still be by my side, but we need to keep our distance when Leo is around. I know this is hard, but I don't want him to be suspicious. I don't want to destroy our family happiness, Kevin," Luna said, her hands gently touching his as a comfort. After her conversation with Kevin, Luna seemed unable to resist the strong attraction between them. Whenever Leo went out, the house became Luna and Kevin's private space. They were wrapped around each other like two perfect pieces of a puzzle, immersed in emotions that neither of them seemed to be able to find anywhere else. One evening, as Leo stepped out of the door to meet his business partner, Luna and Kevin rushed at each other as soon as the door closed. The desire between them flared up as if it had been suppressed for too long. Every kiss, every touch contained passion, as if both of them understood that the time together was never enough. That night, in the dimly lit room, Luna and Kevin were entwined, their bodies intertwined like two puzzle pieces that had found their completeness. Luna couldn't stop thinking about Kevin, and every time she was close to him, she felt like she was reliving the strong emotions that Leo couldn't bring. But at the same time, she couldn't deny the existence of Leo, the husband she still loved, albeit in a different way. The day finally arrived when Leo had to leave for his long-term business trip. This time, he would not return until Tet. Luna saw Leo off at the airport with a gentle smile and well wishes, but deep down, she knew that this moment marked a temporary freedom for her and Kevin. They both knew that this time would be a passionate and uninterrupted silence. As soon as Leo left, Luna returned home with Kevin, and from the moment they entered the house, they threw themselves at each other like two starved people. Their feelings could not be stopped, could not be separated. From morning to night, from night to morning, Luna and Kevin were almost inseparable. Every hug, every kiss contained an uncontrollable desire. Without Leo in the picture, they were completely immersed in their own world, where all moral principles and boundaries were erased. During Leo's absence, the small apartment became their own world. They woke up together, ate together, and every night they were wrapped up in an irresistible passion and love. Luna felt like she was living in a dream, where she no longer had to face any limits. Kevin in her arms was all she wanted, but at the same time, she knew that this could not last forever. Day by day, Luna and Kevin continued to indulge in their love, but deep down, they both knew that one day Leo would return and everything would end. Luna understood that she could not give up on Leo, could not destroy the family she had built, but at the same time, she could not end it with Kevin, who brought her a vitality and sublimity that she had never felt before. One morning, after a long night of intimacy, Luna sat by the window looking out, her eyes distant. Kevin walked over, put his hand on her shoulder, and said softly, "Sister, I know Leo will come back. We can't live like this forever. Will you choose him?" Luna was silent, her heart filled with confusion. She knew Kevin was expecting an answer, but she couldn't lie. The truth was that she couldn't make a decision easily. Leo was her husband, the one who had accompanied her for many years, but Kevin's youthfulness, health, and passion made it impossible for her to leave. She looked at Kevin, her eyes filled with thousands of thoughts that couldn't be expressed in words. She didn't know if she could give up Leo, but she couldn't continue to sneak around like this. I don't know, but I don't want to lose you," Luna whispered, her voice breaking. Luna's vague answer hurt Kevin, but he also understood that this was all she could say at the moment. They both knew that the future was unpredictable, and that one day they would have to face the truth. The story ends in the silence of the early morning. Luna and Kevin are still together, but their relationship is now shrouded in ambiguity and deadlock. Leo will return, and when he does, who will Luna choose? Will she have the courage to face the truth or continue to live in the spiral of love and guilt? But one thing is certain, no matter what decision is made, the lives of Luna, Kevin, and Leo will never be the same again. Ladies and gentlemen, our story today will stop here. Thank you for taking the time to watch the entire video. Hopefully, the details and emotions in the story have brought you interesting and meaningful moments. If you like this video, don't forget to like, share, and leave a comment below the video to let us know your opinion. And don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any stories in the future. See you in the next videos. Wish you a great day.